and welcome to Weirder Hings podcast, broadcasting into your ears from Paranormal UK Radio. You can find that at paukradio.com. You can find us, the Weirder Hings podcast, on Twitter. We are Weirder Podcast, and on email, you can email us on Weirder Things, not Hings, Things, podcast@gmail.com. And now, who am I? I am Innes Smith. And who is that?
Oh, it's me. It's Michael McCann.
Hello, Michael.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm alright. Hey, how are you?
I'm okay. I'm alright. It's we've been away for a wee while.
A wee while, because somebody had to go on holiday.
Well, I mean, it was technically a holiday.
Yeah, technically a holiday.
I mean, we can label it as such. Whether or not it was is another matter. Anyway, we're back, and we're happy to be back, aren't we?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah,
I've not done one of these in a couple of weeks, so...
And we've missed the listeners, haven't we?
We have, and I believe they've missed us as well.
Do you believe that?
I do believe that, yeah.
Is that just a belief?
It is. It's a belief. It's a strong belief.
It's not backed. Is it a strong belief?
Yeah. I've had some Twitter messages saying, we miss you.
Oh, well, that's a fact then.
Yeah, there you go then.
It's more than enough.
Yeah. Well, it's one guy, so it could just,
That's enough.
Yeah, that's all we need.
That's enough. Okay, so today we're going to talk about something that I was a wee bit surprised we've not talked about this before.
Yeah, when you mentioned it, I was like, have we not done that? And then we hadn't. I think we've danced around it a few times.
We've danced around like the naked witches that we are, but we've not saddled it and rode it into the listener's brain.
No, we haven't.
And it is, of course, something that looms large in Scotland's.
That was nice.
Looms large in a rather slippery and aquatic manner in the whole remit of Paranormal Scotland, and that is, of course, the Loch Ness Monster, or indeed water monsters, or lake monsters, Loch monsters here.
Yeah, and it's like people think we've only got one, but we have an abundance.
Yeah. Of
Loch monsters in Scotland.
Yeah. Did you see that recently? I don't know what newspaper it was, but some newspaper listed Loch Ness and Lake Lomond.
What?
I know. It's a weird historical wee quirk or fact here, boys and girls, but we call lakes lochs in Scotland, except with one notable exception. All our bodies are of fresh water are lochs, and if they're tiny, we call them lochans. But we do have one lake.
Do we? We
do. We just have one lake, and it's Lake Monteith.
Oh, yeah. There's a poem or something about that. Is it Sir Walter Scott wrote about it?
I might. To be honest, whether or not this is true or not, but I was told that the reason it's Lake Monteith, whether this is true or not, I have no idea, but the reason it's called Lake Monteith is because Monteith was the nobleman that betrayed Wallace.
Right.
And therefore we're like, well, that's English, that.
Right, okay, so it's going to call that a lake.
Going to call it a lake as an insult to his memory.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Sir Walter Scott done a poem about the Lady of Lake Monteith, or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, because it rings a bell.
Incisive and knowledgeable.
Whereabouts is that? Do you know what it is?
Yeah.
Is it in Monteith?
Yeah, it's basically sort of the Eastern Trossachs.
All right, okay.
So it's near sort of Stirling.
Oh.
That kind of. If anyone has
in fact, I've been there.
I'm sure you probably have.
Yeah,
There's a wee island and
and there's a wee thing. What do you call them? The things that go out the
ferry.
No, you walk on it.
Jetty
pier thing, and I think it's under the water. It goes under the water.
It goes under the water.
Yeah, so you walk on it, but you're
like Aquaman.
But you're in the water. When you're walking on it, I think it's there. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure. Because lots of people get married there. There's a wee hotel and stuff like that. Yep.
And you can walk underneath the water?
You walk on the thing, but it's flooded.
Right.
And you can walk out, and so when you get your picture taken, it looks like you're standing on the water.
Right, okay.
Yeah. Like Jesus,
right, okay. Right. Okay, well, that was a delightful digression. So, you're going to talk to us about, we could have some kind of exciting news thing here.
Oh, right, okay,
Paranormal news.
Yeah, we've got some paranormal news this week.
We like to.
It's not so much news as it's a list of things.
We are going to talk about the Loch Ness Monster, but first of all, paranormal news.
Well, I came across this article in the Scotsman, and the reason I'd like to do it is because it relates to a podcast that we will get around to doing, and it's 8 of Scotland's creepiest and haunted roads and bridges.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
They actually had an article about that.
Yes, and it was very recent as well. It was Monday.
run by that list again, that arbitrary list. Roads
and bridges.
Roads and bridges.
Roads and bridges.
Okay.
I think we should get credit, so that it's by Crystal Chesters.
Crystal Chesters?
Yeah. Of course it is.
Crystal Chesters.
That's the author's of this list's name.
That's like a Texan oil heiress.
Yeah. Crystal Chesters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe a porn star? Don't know.
I was thinking it.
Yeah.
But I didn't say it.
Yeah.
You said it.
It's just the Chestels part, I think.
Yeah.
Chesty Leroux. Right, so number 1 on the list was the one that caught my attention.
Yeah.
Was the A75 in Kinmont Strait, Dumfries and Galloway.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Myself and Ness attended a talk recently. I said recently, was that this year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe last year.
It might have been the end of last year, where we went to a talk with, what was the lady's name again?
It was Catherine, and it was from wonderful Mostly Ghostly.
Yeah, and they investigate Dumfries and Galloway and stuff, so they did a whole talk on haunted roads.
Yep.
So we were going to get Kathleen? Yeah, we're going to get her on the podcast at some point, and we'll do a live interview with her, and she'll tell us all about it. But I just saw this, and I thought, this is a good wee thing just to wet the whistles of the listeners until we're able to organise that. So this is known as Scotland's Ghost Road. It stretches the stretch of the A75 between the Carthariston town.
Say that again.
Carthariston town.
Right. Okay.
What a strange... Imagine I couldn't live there.
Right.
Where are you from? I'm from Carthariston town. And Annan. See, I can say Annan.
Annan's easy, yeah.
Yeah. And it's been the site of plenty of paranormal activity. This is terribly written, this article. From Phantom... For
Phantom's sake.
Yes. From phantom hitchhikers to wild dogs and cats and a person who walks out in front of cars, this stretch of road is Scotland's most haunted.
That's true. We know that.
So that's the A75 between Carthariston and Annan. So I do recall her speaking...
Is it not Garliston? Is it not the Garliston Strait? No, is it something else? I don't know.
The Kinmont Strait. So,
all right, okay.
Right, so you're kind of right. So the next one on the list is Old Tay Bridge in Dundee.
Old Tay Bridge.
The Old Tay Bridge is famous for Britain's worst ever bridge disaster. It took place on the 28th of December 1879 when the Tay Bridge in Dundee collapsed, plunging a six-carriage train into the water and killing all 75 passengers on board.
Dear.
I believe there's a poem or a song about it as well.
Yeah, by William McGonagall.
Yeah. It has since been rebuilt, thankfully, and it is said that each year on the disaster's anniversary you can see a ghost train crossing the old stretch of bridge.
I'd be interested to hear what the last time that happened, though.
Yeah.
It sounds like something that might have happened once,
yeah.
But does it still happen?
Yeah.
That's my question.
Yeah. It's weird that a train can be, cause I've heard stories of like haunted trams.
Yeah.
But not a tram that's haunted, but a whole ghost tram.
No, I've heard that. Yeah, ghost cars are quite common. Ghost trains. There's also a ghost train meant to be seen, funnily enough, up near Loch Ness.
Do you not think that's weird though, that an object can manifest as a ghost?
What are we but objects?
Oh, that's very deep.
Well,
but we're organic, we're living beings, we've got souls and stuff.
Well, I think Thomas the Tank Engine
I would disagree.
would be very upset by your You're just casual dismissal of his entire race
Yeah.
of sentient machines as being not real.
Yeah. My mistake. Very sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's very insulting of you. But yeah, well, okay, where to start with that one? It's a good one though. It's one of the classic questions is why do ghosts? It was typically sort of voiced in the terms of why do ghosts have clothes?
Yeah.
Right, because we see, and the idea is
Well, you
that,
don't die naked unless you die, naked.
But if your thesis is that ghosts are spirits of the deceased, then do spirits have clothes? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The one would assume not. However, the amount of people. I mean, this is the really odd thing. The amount of people that are seen not just with clothes, but sometimes only clothes. There are the phantoms that are partial,
Right.
but then obviously there are ghost objects as well. So how does that work? But the idea is that they're essentially ideas. That ghosts are essentially ideas, and whether a ghost or phantom is an idea that has an idea of itself, because there's the argument that a lot of ghosts present a picture of how they wish to be seen.
Right. Yeah.
Or what is definitely a factor is how people can construct them. There was one theory of apparitions that was the idea that the ghost or the source of the ghost is like the script essentially, but the person that witnesses it is like the producer that puts on the show. So it very much depends on your own ability to construct
Right.
the phantom.
Right. Yeah. It's interesting because you get both if someone is killed in an accident, like there's been cases where people, I seen him and his face was all burnt and all that kind of stuff, and then. But if spirits got the opportunity to choose how they're seen, then why would you turn up like all mangled and stuff? Surely you'd be seen as you were, as it was, and that sometimes also happens. So you're kind of like, right, okay, what's going on there?
Yeah, and so I just think to that was sort of a weird to sort of go sort of new, sort of Neoplatonic, in a sense. We are all ideas, and we all have an idea of ourselves and of other things, and we're all a mental construct. So it's that idea that a train is a mental construct as well as being a real thing. We have an idea of a train, and at some point, but also maybe reality. Reality is habitual, and therefore reality will produce what has happened before.
Yeah.
Or there's to throw in another cul-de-sac of weirdness is maybe it was a time slip.
There you go. Yeah, time slips.
Maybe
yeah.
it's something to do with time, and you're witnessing something of the past.
Oh, you just reminded me.
Chat.
Yeah, you just reminded me of something. I'm going off script here. Not that we actually have a script. I don't know if the listeners can tell we don't have a script.
There's no.
But know how we've got this wee fascination with security guards and security men?
An unhealthy fascination.
Yes. Well, last week I was doing that exhibition.
Yeah.
Now, and I don't know why this happened, but it did.
Wee bit of context. Michael, as you may know, is a photographer, and as such, he's also interested in exhibiting the work of others.
Yeah.
And he opened a little gallery in Glasgow, and it did very well, boys and girls. It was very well received. Congratulations, Michael.
Thank you very much. Anyway, I was in this gallery, and there was a security guard who worked for the place, and I can't remember why he came in and was looking at some of the photographs, right, that were on the wall, and there was a photograph. In fact, there was one or two photographs with bridges in them.
Right.
People taking landscapes or whatever,
I see.
cityscapes with some
tying it all
bridges.
together here.
Yeah.
Bridges. Yep.
Yeah. So. It's really it's a number of different things you've spoken about all coming into fruition. So he's looking at a couple of these photographs. Some of them were like cityscapes, had bridges, etc. And he turns to me, and I don't know why, and he says, you should do there's an idea for an exhibition, just photographs of bridges. right? So I was like, oh, yep, could do that. Don't know who's going to come and see that, but you could.
Bridge enthusiasts.
Yeah, bridge enthusiasts.
There are many.
And so, and completely, like, I was just, and then he just decided to go on and tell me this story about, it's like, there's this woman in Versailles in Paris, and she was walking around, and she crossed this really kind of beautiful bridge, and she was looking around Versailles, and she really loved this really old bridge, and she came back the next day, and she was telling her daughter about this really beautiful bridge, and she went back, and the bridge wasn't there, and she asked someone about it, and someone says, oh, that bridge was destroyed 150 years ago. So this woman seen a ghost bridge at Versailles. And I just thought it was weird, and then I just went, ooh, that was my response to the story. I was like, ooh.
That's how all proper paranormal investigators respond.
Yeah, and then the security guard went, ah, and then just kind of walked away, and I was like, what was that? What just happened there? Like, why is our security guard just randomly telling me stories about ghost bridges?
Yeah, and he left his jacket with his name on it.
Yeah.
And then you went back to his home, and he's been dead for
50 years. I said to one of them, I'm like, that guy just told me a story about it, and they're like, what guy? There's no guy here. Yeah.
That's it, yeah.
No, but I just thought that was weird that a security guard told me a story about a ghost bridge, completely never asked.
Unprompted,
yeah. So, yeah, and when you came in to visit me last week, I meant to actually say to you, here, that security guard's into weird stuff. We should ask him if he's seen weird stuff in here. But
you would have pointed at nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, what security?
There's nobody there. What are you talking about? Yeah. So the next one on the list is, it's actually the Overton Bridge, but we covered that recently, we don't need to do that.
Just in case you missed that episode, though, the Overton Bridge is a bridge over quite a steep gorge, and basically lots of people walk there. It's open to the public. There's a large house nearby, and lots of members of the public, they walk their doggies there, and their doggies jump over the edge of the bridge.
Commit suicide?
Well, they don't really commit suicide. The point is that we're all fairly well... pretty much decided that this was due to dogs being silly, smelling something interesting, and assuming that there was a very... very short drop over the other side instead of a massive, huge drop.
Yeah.
And there you go. Case closed, that one.
The next one on the list is Mary King's Close. Now, it's meant to be haunted bridges and roads, but because technically Mary King's Close used to be a street, it's on the list. So, Mary King's Close, if anybody's been to Edinburgh will know about this. If you've not been to Edinburgh, you might know about it. And if you've no idea what we're talking about, then I'll quickly explain to you what it is. Mary King's Close is a preserved 17th century street hidden under the city chambers in Edinburgh. Basically, it was a street that was overrun by plague. So what they basically did was they bricked up the residents who lived there and left them to die. Yeah,
they put guards at one end, at the top, at the bottom, and just waited for them to die.
Yeah, and now they just built over the top of it and stuff like that. And the old street is still there. You can go and visit it and see all the old houses and stuff like that. Yeah. It's really cool. It's really expensive now. The last time I was there, it was like £5 to get in.
Yeah.
Now it's like 25 or something like that. It's like ridiculous. It's got like a visitor centre and all that kind of stuff. Before, when I went, it had just been opened, so it was literally
tour guides that dress up.
Yeah. So that's a pretty interesting one, and it's haunted by a wee girl called Annie.
Yeah.
Did we talk about this in the Edinburgh podcast?
Yeah, but that Annie had become a trope.
We did.
That was repeated across the entire city.
Yeah, that's right. So it was because the one we went down, all that people leave gifts and stuff for. The Japanese.
Yeah, the ghost. Yeah, the ghost girl. Yeah.
So it seems to be a thing now.
Yeah, because it makes money.
Yeah. Next one on the list is the A9 in the Scottish Highlands.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you know about this one?
I think I have heard of this one before. Yeah, the A9. Yeah. And it's a very dangerous road as well.
It's a super dangerous road, so if there's going to be a haunted road, it would be this one. One of Scotland's most haunted roads is the A9, which has had sightings of an ornate coach and horses, sometimes with a wig-wearing footman. There is also a sighting of a man dressed in Victorian attire on a horse at the mound between Dornoch and Golspie.
Yeah. So no, yeah, I can buy that.
Yeah, but as it is super den, there's car crashes there. All the
How
time,
many
like,
how many
walk
more
out.
on the list have we got to go?
Well, there's the Kilmarnock Bridge in Rutherglen.
Right. Oh, okay. That's interesting. Yeah.
Do you know about this one?
No.
No. This is one of the most famous hauntings in Glasgow. There's a bridge in Kilmarnock that it goes over the River Clyde, and there's reports of a suicidal man in his 30s standing on the bridge, kind of stares over the side before jumping, and then he vanishes, and then people think they've seen someone jumping in the Clyde, but when they go to look, there's no one there.
Wow.
He's reported to be wearing black trousers and a blue jacket from the 1930s.
Oh, 1930s.
Yeah, the bridge itself's 200 years old.
There you go.
Yeah, that's a famous Glasgow haunting. I thought you might have known about that.
No.
No?
I really haven't, no.
Then there's the Electric Bray in Ayrshire.
Right.
I can't remember if I've been to see this. The
No.
Electric Bray is a weird thing. It's a weird optical
So, yeah.
illusion
It's really good fun, yeah.
where you park your car. It's like a hill. You park your car on it and you take your handbrake off and the car rolls it uphill.
Yeah.
It's really strange. And it's also drawn by some mysterious forces. The road is believed to be haunted by witches from long ago, but the recent theories suggest the phenomenon is caused by an optical illusion. So
It's a really good optical illusion.
yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. If you have a car and some free time and you're in the West Coast of Scotland, and it's actually very near Culzean Castle, so it's near lots of interesting, and it's Burns country as well, so it's a really nice and fun diversion. If you're in that part of Scotland, it's a very pretty part of Scotland, lots of nice touristy things to go and see and do. So en route to one of these locations, take a wee diversion down the Electric Bray, and about halfway down the hill is everything tells your brain that everything is going downhill. But what you do is you basically, if you have a wee ball or something, and you drop it and it rolls uphill and it freaks your brain out. It really does. It really does. It's great fun. It really does work.
Then we've got the A87 in Slagachan in Skye.
All right. Okay.
Which is the Slagachan area in Skye is quite well known to be associated with fairies.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, fairies.
Yeah, but on this story, it's a ghostly appearance of a 1934 Austin 7 speeding along the road with its headlights on. So people have seen that. Some have said they had seen the car pull over or overtake them before witnessing it vanish into thin air. The sightings date back to the 1940s, and it is said that the car's driver was a church minister who caused a fatal accident and went insane with guilt.
Wow, how about that?
Yeah.
So maybe he thought so hard about it that he created a tulpa.
Yeah.
A psychic entity that yes, drives along the motorway at night. Yes.
Then the next one is the A93 north of Blairgowrie.
Right, Blairgowrie.
A huge and mysterious ghost dog. Oh,
Ghost dog, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
which frightens other dogs and horses.
No.
Is said to patrol the A93 north of Blairgowrie in Perthshire.
A black dog.
Yeah, it has been likened to a hellhound, whatever
Hellhound.
that is, a mythological dog used as guardians of the entrance to the underworld. Legend has it
Which if
if you stare
anyone's
straight
been-
into its eyes 3 times, you'll die.
If anyone's been to Blairgowrie, that makes perfect sense.
Really?
No, it's quite nice.
Yeah.
It's very touristy, you know what I mean?
All right. Okay.
It's good, it's
I've probably passed through it. Oh, yeah.
But it's nice. It's nice.
So there you go. There's some haunted roads and bridges in Scotty Botland for MD to visit or do things well if they come here.
That wasn't really. I mean, it was in the news.
I mean, it was
it's
an
not really
article.
new.
It's not really news. Yeah, it's someone.
You're
It's
kinda
just recycled.
You're kind of stretching it there.
Yeah,
Just they've given some intern a list. Make a list and fill up some space.
yeah,
You idiot.
yeah. That's basically what that was.
Crystal Cheeser or whatever her name was, or his. Who knows? Or them. We can't assume these days. We've got to get with it, Michael.
Yeah.
We've got to get with it. Okay, so that was this week's paranormal news. So there you go, that's the theme.
Yeah.
So should we get on with the actual subject, why people might have tuned in?
Yeah, Because like, oh.
I mean, how long was that?
Yeah, 25 minutes.
Oh, it's just too long, isn't it? It's too long. It's too long.
It's usually maybe 15 minutes, but you know.
But you know what? I will say though that it is as long as a news.
People
story.
tune in for the banter.
So the weather. So we should now do paranormal weather now.
Yeah.
It's long enough
Now for the paranormal sport.
to be reporting paranormal Scotland and now the weather.
Yeah.
Well, it's very wet and.
It is.
We have
It's
to
been
say
raining for a week.
there is this definite link between mysticism and weirdness and water, and the fact that Scotland is so damp has been one of the reasons or explanations put forth why Scotland has such a rich history and reputation for being haunted and weird.
Well,
It's because we're so damp.
Yeah, if you went out today and if you went a wee bit north of Glasgow, right, and the weather that we have, if you looked around, it'd be very kind of misty and moody, and you know, you'd stand there and you'd go, oh, there's something about this place. It's that kind of day here in Scotland.
Wet.
It's wet, yeah.
Yeah.
It's that kind of, it's like that. It's that wet way where it looks misty because there's, you know. So
Yes, it is.
It looks very.
It's got a definite vibe to it.
Yeah. If you're an Australian and you were come here for the first time, be like, wow.
If you're an Australian.
Yeah, because I know an Australian guy who came here and the weather was like this, and they said it was just mystical and magical and beautiful.
Okay, that's fair enough.
If it was pouring the rain.
But also with the rain, they often, you know,
Yeah.
if you're from Perth or somewhere like that,
Yeah.
and you went to original Perth
Yeah.
Gold,
Yeah.
you would be bowled over by how moist it was.
Yeah.
Because it's not that moist in Australia.
It's not.
Although Australia has its own lots of weird paranormal action in Australia.
We need to,
But
I
it's
was
not-
going to say we need to do an Australian episode, but we can't because this is a Scotland-based podcast.
Do you know what we could do though? We could just change our accents
Good.
and just do it.
Yeah.
Do it. But yeah, so that's the thing. We're going to talk about the Loch Ness Monster. So
Let's just do it. Yeah, Nessie.
we'll stick to Loch Ness Monster, and then maybe if we can cope with the horror, we might move on to other lochs.
Right, let's stick with Nessie, 'cause I think we can get a good half hour out of Nessie.
Good half hour.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Let's a good
I'll
one.
I'll just keep interrupting you, asking loads of questions.
You can if you want.
Right, wait, hold on. Before we start, right, I don't think we've spoken about this on the podcast before.
Right. Okay.
But am I correct in saying that you think you've seen Nessie?
Oh, you're going to bring that up then?
Yeah. Because I think we should. Because, like, here's the thing, right? You don't claim to have seen much for someone who investigates the paranormal.
That's true. Yeah.
You don't claim to have seen. I mean, your ghost thing goes as far as you smelled something once.
So yeah,
Yeah.
an olfactory experience.
Yeah.
It was ambiguous. It could have
Yeah.
been taste.
Yeah.
Just, you know.
So.
Excuse you.
So, but you go as far as saying you think you might have seen Nessie.
Yeah.
So let's tell that story.
Should we? Well, this might take up your 25
That's
minutes.
fine.
Easy, and then we can. It might be a two-parter.
Yeah, it could be a two. Go for it. 'Cause I need to know this story.
Okay, so. But I was often thinking that, you know, the way that I read those people that those kind, brave people that took the time and trouble to write in with their own paranormal experiences, and then I put on a fruity voice,
Yeah.
and we've not heard anything since then. Which meant that they probably assumed I was not necessarily taking their accounts particularly seriously, which I regret. That wasn't the intention.
I loved every minute.
Well, I know you did, but the people that wrote in might be a wee bit upset. So I'm wondering whether or not.
Well, we've not had any complaints.
Well, they might just be too angry.
Could be.
Could you know some people
Sitting there festering.
Yeah, I found that actually. Do you know what? It is for a very short period in my life, I was a market researcher. Did you know this about me? I've done loads of things, right?
Right.
And I found out that some people are so absolutely fed up with things they actually don't respond anymore. So you get a false positive of how well you're. If you actually are rubbish,
Yeah.
you can actually push. You know what I mean. You can end up with a completely distorted reality in which people that are just so furious with the way things are, they actually just stop responding.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
in the same way that there are many people who don't vote because they really couldn't give a monkeys, but there are people that don't vote because they are so angry with it's not because they don't care, they really do care, but they really do think there's no point.
Well, I never voted in the European elections a few weeks ago.
Did you not?
No. And it was because of that reason. Like, what's the point? I'm Scottish. SNP are going to win and Brexit are going to win in England, so my vote makes no difference.
It always makes a difference,
doesn't it?
If it was up to me, I would make voting compulsory.
I would. Yeah, whatever. Like, I was going to see, just to prove a point, I was going to go on a rant. I was like, "That's no point. This isn't what this podcast is about." Tell me about the time you saw a Loch Ness monster.
Okay, right. Do you want me to do it in a fruity voice?
No, just tell the story. Right, tell it as you.
Okay.
Tell it as Innes.
I almost feel like I should open some whiskey. I know it's,
Get the fire on.
Get the fire on. Okay, so what I did do magically is I ran downstairs and I found an old diary entry where I actually recorded my experience basically straight after it happened. But
right, so
the day
you took
after.
it so seriously that you actually wrote it all down.
I wrote it all down. However, I've not looked at it. I've just managed to find the diary entry, and I'm just going to tell you. And then afterwards, I'll read you out my diary entry and see if I've exaggerated.
Oh, right, yeah, that'd be quite good.
As a wee experiment to see if I'm just making it all up. See if I'm I exaggerate.
Right, okay, that's an interesting experiment.
Okay, so here goes. So I can't even remember what year it was.
After a flyer.
After all that, I could work out. Hang on.
Did you not write the date down on the Samuel Pepys, You Are Not?
It was 2001.
2001? Alright, okay. The year nothing happened.
Okay, it was 2001. And I was accompanying another paranormal investigator, and it was to witness something that was meant to happen on the morning of May Day. And it was meant to be a phantom battle reenactment on the shores of Loch Ashy.
Right, okay.
Now, Loch Ashy is a small loch, or lochin. It's almost a lochin. It's quite small. And it is to the sort of southeast. Basically, if you want to picture Loch Ness, well, Loch Ness is a very long loch. It's basically about 24 miles long, and at its widest it's a mile wide, which is quite impressive.
Yeah.
And it's really, really deep, and basically it pretty much cuts the sort of the Northwest Highlands apart from the rest of the Scottish mainland.
Yeah, it kind of cuts it in half.
Cuts it in half a wee bit, and it's this enormous sort of fault line, and it's at this it's sort of at this angle. It's sort of like a 45-degree angle.
Yeah.
So basically, at the very bottom of it, there's the very short sort of River Ness, and you've got Fort William, and at the top of it, you've got a wee stretch of land, and then you've got Inverness.
Yeah.
And so if you imagine it like the hand of a clock, it's basically always sort of in between 1 and 2. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's that sort of angle. So Loch Ashy is basically about 2/3 of the way up on the southern bank.
Right. Okay.
Okay. It's on the southern bank, sort of southeast bank of Loch Ness. Anyway. So I was accompanying this paranormal investigator, and it was meant to happen on basically at dawn on May Day. So we travelled up late the night before, and we had a stop in Pitlochry for a curry, and then we drove on, and we got to Loch Ashy about I don't know, maybe it was after midnight anyway.
Right, so it was late. It was night time.
It was night time. Yeah, so it was maybe between midnight and 1 o'clock or something like that.
Okay.
I can't remember, but we got there quite late.
Right.
Let's just, for argument's sake, say it was about midnight. And the shores of Loch Ashy was basically where fishermen on May Day had heard, they hadn't seen anything, but they had heard this sound of swords clashing and screams of battle, etc. So our plan was to basically pick a bank and wait for the sun to come up and see if we could experience anything similar. However,
Right.
there was the track that led you towards Loch.
Right.
At the end of this, there was a porta cabin, and what should have been somewhat pristine and undisturbed bracken and heather
Right.
was now an enormous industrial building site that Scottish Water
Oh, right, okay.
was turning this into either a small reservoir or I don't know.
Yeah, you see that
Bas-
sometimes when you're
yeah.
travelling around Scotland. You see these
these sort of-
Scottish water or Scottish power
Yeah.
things cropping up.
So basically, the ground was, this small track was now churned up by these massive big wheels, big machines. There was now quite a large sort of building site with a sort of wee power plants and diggers, etc. And there was a night watchman.
Oh, yeah.
So there was a port cabin, there was a night watchman. So in amongst the darkness is you had this little square of bright light,
Yeah.
and then occasionally you'd see the silhouette of a night watchman who would look out and then see a couple of people with torches walking down the
Yeah.
path. Now the investigator I was with
Yeah.
suddenly became quite embarrassed and self-conscious and thought, oh, I don't want to disturb this night watch person.
Right, okay.
Don't want to freak this person out.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, if you walk up to this person and say who you are and what you're doing,
Yeah.
I'm sure that will reassure them.
Yeah. Rather than
him looking at us, seeing that he'd spotted us, and
Yeah.
then we now go away is
Yeah.
more suspicious.
Yeah, it'd be worse.
It'd be worse. So I tried to convince this person to just go forward and explain and say, all right, Jimmy, this is who we are, this is what we're doing. It'd be fine. You know what I mean? What's he going to do? Nothing, right? So we walk back this path, and the time obviously it takes us to turn around, because we get halfway down this place, right? The time it takes us to sort of turn around and get there, sure enough, this was back in the day before there was one unified police service. So this would be the Highland Constabulary were waiting for us, funnily enough.
Oh, really?
Yes, because the night watchman had obviously phoned up and went, there's a couple of
Guys out here.
couple of dodgy people with torches walking down.
Fair play for the cops getting there so quickly, considering their nearest police station's probably about 20 miles away.
It was obviously a quiet night in Inverness.
Right.
Because the thing is this car was not the first car to arrive.
Right.
So basically this car rocks up and says, so what are you doing?
Yeah, why are you in the middle of nowhere?
What are you doing? What are you doing? And so with... It was hilarious though, because the mortification, the embarrassment of my colleague was tremendous.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Almost transcendental, right? And basically had to say with a straight face, well, we're actually paranormal investigators. We're here to witness the phantom battle if it decides to make an appearance this morning.
Yeah.
And the funny old thing was, Michael and listeners, is whilst one of the police officers looked at us with a somewhat glacial expression,
right,
confused and befuddled, the other one was like, "Oh, aye, that's right. Yeah, I've heard. He was a local.
Right.
He knew all the stories. And he was like, yeah, absolutely. I've heard all about those stories. Fair play.
Right.
Go on yourself.
Right.
Knock yourself out.
Aye.
So that was absolutely fine. But of course, by then, obviously, it was a quiet night.
Yeah.
And they think, well, clearly in the middle of the night, hardened gangsters turn up at building sites, try to steal things.
Yeah.
So obviously, but I think another 2 cars turned up. I can't remember.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it was quite...
riot van.
Yeah, exactly. It was quite a crowd. But of course, by then the smirking had started in the background.
Right, okay.
So the very original constable we spoke to was really sympathetic and friendly and stuff like that. But by then the kind of smirking had begun.
Right, okay.
And then the night watchman himself had,
meandered up.
He'd meandered up and heard it. And the night watchman was like, aye, fair enough. Aye, on you go.
Aye.
Okay, aye.
Just don't touch anything.
Yeah. exactly. And everyone disappeared, and I was like, right, okay, well, let's go. But this person was so embarrassed
Right.
by the whole thing. They were like, right, I'm going back.
Right, aye.
Right,
I'm going to
going
go
back.
home.
I want to go home. Yeah, exactly. And I said, well, it's now more suspicious
Yeah.
to go away. Because it's like we were criminals, and that was just a cover story when they were
Right,
just
aye.
driving away.
What a cover story that would be, though.
Yeah.
No, we're just here for the ghosts.
Just here for the ghosts. Yeah. Did you know that your bank is built in the site of a phantom battle?
Yeah.
And we're just here in the middle of the night
Yeah.
to witness. Yeah, exactly. That's actually quite a good excuse. Criminals out there, take note.
Yeah.
Anyway, the point is that my fellow investigator was so embarrassed that they went, no, we're going. And I was like, oh. And I thought, well, we were there for the long haul. We had wee flask, something to eat. We packed. I don't know what you not lunch.
Breakfast.
Yeah, breakfast,
Snack.
Brunch,
Yeah.
snack. Midnight snack. Midnight snack. We had midnight snack. And I just thought, well, look, instead of just turning straight back down the road and driving away, I've never seen Loch Ness, so at least can we drive back via Loch Ness? And my colleague said, yeah, okay, fair enough. And what we did was we drove towards Loch Ness, and we stopped in a little lay-by just sort of the north of, I think it's north of Foyers, but basically we were it's the sort of the other side of Urquhart Bay kind of
Right,
thing.
okay.
Right. And there was a wee sort of path in between the undergrowth that led down to the actual loch shore. So my colleague just sat with the flask and these sandwiches and whatnot in the car, and I was like, do you want to come down, see if you see the monster? And he was like, nah.
I'm quitting. I'm handing in my paranormal investigator's badge in the morning.
Right. And I was like, well, I'm going. So off I tootled down to the loch shore. Big pebbles.
Right.
A big boulder, and it was quite a clear night from my memory. There was sort of like a sort of half moon. You could see that the moonlight shining this sort of path down the middle of the loch. You could see on the opposite side of the shore. I think this is where Loch Ness maybe at its widest, but you could see the streetlights of Urquhart Bay kind of thing, across the water. And I opened up my flask and I was drinking coffee. So I had a little cup of coffee in one hand, and I actually had my camera in the other, just in case, because you're always aware of these stories that amazing things happen, and even though people have a camera in their hand, they never take photographs because they're so stunned, or that it doesn't occur to them, or whatever reason. So I stood on the shores. I was ready for this.
Right, okay.
And I was just, thinking, as I do, about all the hilarious possibilities of what might occur. And just really weirdly, there was just sort of in the middle of the path of moonlight, so I could see it. So I would say it was maybe pretty much halfway down the loch or something. I don't know. It's quite hard to judge. But what I would say is I kind of saw this this thing, and it was constantly moving. Sort of, it was not quite wriggling, but it was constantly moving in a motion. So it was like a swan's neck or something, and it started off like an S, and it kind of rose up of the loch, and it kept kind of. But the thing is, it kept kind of moving. So my initial response was a few expletives of delight, and I just couldn't believe. It was just like you go to witness a phantom battle. You think, oh well, never mind. You think, I know. Let's go to Loch Ness, because you never know. And within like 10 minutes, you are seeing the thing that some people spend their life hoping to see, and they never see it. And it's just like, so in terms of it, instead of it being an incredible or ridiculous kind of thing, it was, I would not believe myself. I find this story unbelievable. So I saw this thing, and it didn't have a head shape or anything.
Okay.
It was kind of perfectly, perfectly kind of smooth at the top.
So it looked like a worm.
Yes, or something like that. And just the way it moved as well. It was. So I thought, well, I've got this camera, and even though I'm thinking, right, I don't have the lens.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the, I don't have the lens, the exposure. I don't have.
Yeah, you don't.
I don't have anything that will give me a snowball's chance in hell of getting an actual photograph of this.
Yeah.
But I thought, well, I need to do it anyway.
Yeah.
But otherwise, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
if anything to prove that you were actually there.
Yeah, exactly. So I took about 5 photographs, right?
Yeah.
And then and I kind of regret that in a way because I took the photographs. I just got that, the flash in my eyes.
Blindness, yeah.
And then also I couldn't. And then when I looked again, it wasn't there.
Right.
So me witnessing it was something like, it was definitely no longer than about 5 seconds. I would imagine I would have looked at it for maybe like, I don't know, 3 or 4 seconds,
Mm-hmm.
and then went, I better take a photograph of it. And then by the time I took the photographs,
Yeah.
it was gone, and I was totally excited. It was just like really kind of like, that's really exciting. But then these really large, within like a minute or 2 minutes or something like that, then these really large waves started to break in.
Right.
And then when that happened, it's just that kind of like the kind of like survival arithmetic. You're like, right, okay, whatever that was,
It was big.
that was big, and it was way over there.
Yeah.
And the thing is as well that you'll just have to take me at my word. There's no way I can prove this, but I would estimate that thing to have been about 6 feet above the water, whatever it was, but
Right,
6
okay.
feet. And I didn't actually read that much about Loch Ness monster. It was only afterwards that I read up quite a lot about it, and then realised that's actually quite a common thing.
Really?
Yeah. It's a lot of very similar reports of something 6 feet high. And
Squirming about in the water.
yeah, it was just constant. It was really quite graceful. It was quite. Do you know what? I'm going to say this right. It was quite sexy. Just because it was so fluid,
Right,
it was
okay.
so fluid. You see, I'm making the motion here.
Yeah.
It's so fluid, and it was the
Yeah.
way that it started off. I mean, you could have imagined it was like a giant black swan, but without the beak. At the beginning of its movement, but then when it sort of started to sort of double back in itself, then it's obviously that's not.
Yeah.
It's not got a.
I can almost kind of picture it, like
Yeah.
like this weird,
Yeah.
like it had like a movement, like because you take a pick of a worm, it starts like squirming about and stuff
Yeah,
like that. So.
like something similar to that, and basically, so within a couple of minutes, when these big waves started to roll in, I thought, well, that was out there,
Yeah.
but see if that I have to see this thing really close.
Yeah.
I'm not into that.
Right. Fair enough.
Right, even though
Yeah.
I could stand there and take as many photographs that would be the best photographs of one of the world's greatest mysteries,
Yeah.
I'm not into that. And I got the fear. Honestly,
Really?
Yeah. Just like, yeah, it's fine over there, but see over here, no.
Wow.
And I made a rather enthusiastic and lively exit up the path, and then spoke to my colleague and said, I've just seen the Loch Ness monster, and I know for an absolute 1000% fact that person did not believe me, surprisingly, but I almost don't believe myself.
Fair enough.
What I have, I mean, and since reading up about the whole subject, since one of the theories is that they could be giant, sort of sterile eels,
Right.
and I think that's perfectly plausible. I think that would
A 6 foot eel.
well, it would have to be considerably more than 6
Yeah.
feet, because it would have to have more of it in the water
Right.
than out
yeah,
the water
yeah,
to
yeah.
sustain
It's just-
that kind of movement. So it would have to be like a seriously enormous eel.
Do eels do that though? And
Well-
normally, like come at the water and squiggle a bit.
The only thing I would say is there are things about the natural world that we are discovering, or at least acknowledging, year upon year. and these beasties have, they've always been there. It's just that you assume that, even we're now in the 21st century, but in the 20th century we say, no, well, we've discovered everything that's discovered, but it's not true. There are things that we assumed to have been extinct that we went, oh, look, that thing.
Yeah. That's my kind of take on it as well.
That thing exists.
Because 24 miles long and a mile wide, and it's just so deep. It's incredibly deep. So it's like the deepest loch on Britain.
It's the largest. It's
massive.
It's the largest body of fresh water, certainly in the UK. It might be.
I think in Western Europe as well. I think there's one in maybe Italy that's a bit deeper, or Germany. I can't really remember, but I can remember the footage, but I think it's something ridiculous, like between 800 and 900 feet.
Yeah, because it's almost a mile deep as well.
Yeah.
I think it's the deepest.
It's ridiculously deep. So if there's anything lurking in that body of water, you'd have a hard time finding it. Right. It's like the sea, right? But what we'll do is, because I've only got 8 minutes left on this podcast.
Do you want me to read my?
Will we wait and then pick it up on the next episode when we do this? Because we've only got like 8 minutes.
All right.
So it means we get a wee bit more time to kind of look over.
Shall I? Because see my actual account though.
Yeah.
That wouldn't take 8 minutes.
Right, okay, what's your actual account then?
And then we can talk about more. We can talk about more things.
Yeah. Right, so quickly give us your account based on your diary and see if you actually... if you remember that. Oh, right,
it's just that much.
Right, okay.
I've called this the bare bones of a monster sighting.
Oh.
How about that? I got out of the car and equipped myself with a flask of coffee and a camera. I set off down this gravelly path and stood next to the shore. To my right was a tree, and to my left was a large, smooth rock. Before me stretched the expanse of the loch. A wide path of reflected moonlight dissected the water. In the distance, at the opposite side of the loch, were the lights of Urquhart Bay. I stood there drinking coffee, the camera dangling round my neck. I had a couple of amusing thoughts. Doc Shields dancing with his magic bone, and me doing a Nessie mating call to attract the monster.
Who's Doc Shields?
Doc Shields is a fascinating character that he's basically a sort of magician, Fortean trickster type who actually faked one of the best photographs.
Oh, is that guy? Right, okay.
Anthony Shields, yeah. Tony Doc Shields, yeah. So anyway, I knew about him. Although I hadn't read his book Monstrum, which I've since got and read, and that's very good. So I drank more coffee and eyed the waters. I noticed larger waves coming in at the shore, and then I looked around. Perhaps I looked at the shoreline, or the loch, or the land. But the next time I looked at the loch, I saw something that made me exclaim excitedly, "Can you bleep, Maple?"
Yes.
Yeah. No way, fuck, no way. I saw silhouetted against the moonlit stretch of water a slim, writhing, sensual shape, quite serpentine or tentacle-like, rising or risen out of the loch. It had no discernible head shape, just a smooth curved end. When I first saw it, I'm sure it was facing to the left, curved like a question mark. It looked away, moving towards the right, and then perhaps moved under again. I think there was more movement, but at this point, I was both stunned and reaching for my camera. I took photos hoping to catch something on film. Already, I was beginning to doubt this experience seconds after I had it. It was purely too good to be true. And yet, ironically, so perfectly unbelievable. A psychic investigator alone, his partner still in the car, witnessing the Loch Ness Monster after an aborted spectral battle vigil. So
it's like an episode of the X-Files.
There you go. It's like that, yeah, exactly. So that's and there's a hilarious footnote that when I got the camera, the film developed,
and
got the photos back, there was a mysterious mist that I hadn't noticed at all at the time. I was like, "What is this? Is some kind of spectral ghost mist or something?"
Yeah.
But of course, you know what happens.
Your breath, or your coffee.
Yeah. I basically took 5 amazing photographs of the steam from my coffee cup. It's hilarious.
You get that as a photographer, you get that quite a lot. People are like, "Oh, there's a mysterious. I was in this place, and there's this mysterious mist," and you're like, "No, that's your breath." Because when you hold the camera up to your face to take the picture, it's cold outside.
Yeah.
happens a lot. And people are like, no, it's the mysterious Scott. And it's just your breath, you idiot.
Well, no, it was perfect though, because I was holding the camera on one hand and I had right in front of me, underneath my chin, a cup of coffee, going, "That's amazing! These photographs.
I'm going to be a millionaire."
I know.
Yeah. So there you go.
But there you go. That was the one.
Your account was pretty accurate to what you told us.
The bit I forgot though was there were waves first of all.
Oh right, okay.
So I forgot that bit. That was what.
Also, the description, you wouldn't be at a place writing some, erotic novels, some 50 Shades of Grey type.
Some
books.
Yeah, monster porn.
Yeah, monster porn.
Yeah, well.
If it was, yeah.
So the next episode we're gonna dive deep.
We'll dive deep into Nessie, but I just thought it was interesting that we should, maybe mention the fact that you have seen Nessie.
I think that's important.
Yeah, because like I say, you don't claim to have seen many things, but.
And the other thing about that experience is I still wouldn't stake my life on it. You know what I mean?
Enough.
Even though it was my experience,
yeah,
I would think if somebody said, "Yeah, you were like that sugar rush with whatever you were eating and that caffeine rush, and it was late at night, and expectancy and etc." I wouldn't go. There's no way that I know what I saw. Honestly, I regard it as just too good to be true. Just in terms of just you know what I mean? It's just it's corny.
Yeah,
it's corny.
Yeah,
it's a corny thing.
Yeah. And you never went on record or anything like that. You never went rushing to the nearest tabloid newspaper.
Because it's too incredible.
Yeah. So we just the whole way down the road just like, no, seriously, this is what. And the guy just like, nah, that never happened. Just didn't believe you.
Well, I just think I don't know. It's just odd. It's just it's ironic. It drips with paranormal irony.
Yeah. Like I said, it was like an episode of X-Files.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So your what happened to your partner?
What happened to him? Nothing. We just drove home and that was it.
So
yeah.
Never went back to see if there was a spectral battle or.
I think the person has subsequently gone on to investigate and maybe spent some time up there.
Right,
yeah.
Finally got into it then.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was ironic. You go to see one thing, you end up seeing something else.
Yeah. Sometimes that does happen.
Sometimes that does indeed.
Yeah.
So for the deep dive, pun intended, come back next time and we'll tell you all about it.
Yeah.
It's going to subject. Did you know that the Picts used to ritually drown people?
Did they?
Yeah. Because for them, well, there's so much mysticism and spirituality attached to water.
Right.
For obvious reasons. One thing is you can see your own reflection in water.
Oh, not in minerals.
Yeah. Well, the thing, if you think about sort of pre-industrial societies, a mineral was a rare thing.
Mm-hmm.
There would either be a polished piece of obsidian or a rare, large, flat piece of metal.
Yeah.
So most of the time, even and you think, well, those things in themselves would be quite rare objects, quite magical objects, reflective objects. So before then, still bodies of water, and there was always much significance attached to reflections that was seen as a window to the spirit world.
Oh, right. So what we'll do is we'll end this episode
on that fact.
We will come back next week and we'll finish Nessie and we'll finish
Nessie.
The Watery Weirdness.
Yeah, thank you very much for listening. Do come back next week.
Yeah, send us emails, messages, whatever, do all that stuff.
And honestly, I really welcome some really hardcore slagging off.
Yeah. And this is a sucker for that stuff. And we'll respect you from now on if you want to send us your...
I'm an idiot.
Yeah. Because we're light-hearted here. Right.
Yeah.
Right. See you next week with more weirder things.
Cheery.